a state the size of Alaska, it often takes extraordinary means to accomplish commonplace tasks. Something as simple as delivering the mail can, for some Alaskans, become an event. Near Anchorage, every week, a woman named Ruth Jefford performs a vital service for her fellow Alaskans isolated in the wilderness. Because Alaska has so few roads, because its climate and geography are so extreme, portions of the state would be inaccessible without Ruth and people like her. Once a week, as she's done for the past 15 years, Ruth Jefford collects the mail and packages for the people of SQUETNA, a tiny, isolated community 100 kilometers northwest of Anchorage. Ruth Jefford is a bush pilot with her own air taxi business. She's been flying for over 40 years.
I learned to fly in Nebraska started in summer of 1937, soloed in 1937. And then after we moved to Alaska, I got a commercial instructor's rating in 1944. And I was, I guess, the first woman instructor at Merrill Field.
There are over 8,000 licensed pilots in the state of Alaska. And there are more privately owned planes here than in any other state in the country. 1 out of every 48 Alaskans is a pilot.
The small plane in Alaska is like the family car in the lower 48 states. Without the airplane, Alaskans simply couldn't survive.
Alaska is filled with places like SQUETNA, distant, isolated, miles from the nearest road. The people in these communities depend on bush pilots for transportation, medical aid, and supplies. The weekly trip Ruth makes to SQUETNA is as much a social call as it is a mail run.
Running an air taxi business is not just flying the airplane, and it gives me great satisfaction to be of service to these people in this community out here. I feel personally responsible for them. I really feel like I'm almost an aunt to the people in SQUETNA.
With the buggy, you know?
You hear on the radio? The reason they're out of stance is
That's
the stamps
right.
got lost in the mail. Can you imagine a postmaster saying anything like that?
Admitting it, yeah.
Oh, man, wow, when I heard that on the radio, man alive.
Alaska is not an easy place. Those who choose to live here have accepted the hardships of weather and distance in the same spirit as the pioneers who 100 years ago settled the American West. For these frontier Alaskans, the services of Ruth's air taxi are indispensable.
I've carried many, many different types of things, propane gas cylinders and dog teams. I had a goat one time, mostly groceries, gasoline, and the mail.
Bush pilots are special people, dedicated, adventurous, and like most Alaskans, highly versatile. Ruth Jefford is also an accomplished musician. She is the concert master of the Anchorage Symphony Orchestra.
Music and flying both have their rhythms. I think flying is an art if it's done right, just as much as being a violinist. Because I love to fly, flying for a living is a pleasure. I don't know, I don't think the novelty has ever worn off of it or ever will wear off of it for me. I just love to fly.